All right, we're pleased to be joined at this time by another state champ, Coach Will Winston, the defense coordinator at Ware County, the state champs this year in 5A. Coach, appreciate you joining us. Excited to hear what you got to say about Cover Three. But man, before we even get into that, how about this state championship season? What a great year for the people of Waycross and for defense in particular.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me, man. Great year. Our kids played hard, man, bought into what we were doing.
You guys did a fantastic job, man. If you haven't really kept up with exactly what they're doing at Ware County on defense, you're going to be in for a treat. These guys uh, barely give up points to anybody, and they played a tough schedule too. So, Coach, I'm gonna turn it over to you, and I appreciate you having a time taking the time to do this, and let's get going. Let
Yes,
me get
sir.
off.
All right. All right, guys. Today I'm going to talk to you about variations of cover three that we have run and kind of like our evolution of cover three. Just email me anytime. I'll be glad to talk ball with about anybody. Um, just give you a little bit about my background and kind of how it rounds out to cover three. My first 4 years as a defensive coach, even my first few years uh, coaching football when I had to learn defense as well. I come from a quarters two read background. When I was at Peach County, we called cover three weak coverage. All right, so when we ran cover three, uh, which was very rare, we ran country cover three. We'd roll to it, buzz the flats, hook curls, corner stay deep, free safety stay deep. And my first 4 years coaching at Fitzgerald, we were quarters, two read defense, and man. The only way you get us to cover three is if you formationed us into it. And when we coached it, it was very simple. Buzz under the curl, hook curl, guys in the back stay deep. And so we went and met with, we were at a Glazier clinic and heard Chad Hitlett speak. And we decided, we didn't have many D linemen coming back and we were low on secondary bodies. So we were transitioning to a 3-3 after hearing him speak. And then we went around and talked to a lot of people and we made cover three our base coverage. All right. And just going to kind of go through some of the variations we've gone through over the years. We've modified how we taught it and run it over the last probably 7 seasons. Oh, hold on. All right. Variations of cover three that we've run. We've run a pattern match cover three. Then we came and we had a zone rail concept that we checked versus 2x2. We'll talk about that. Match three is very similar to pattern match, but there are some discrete differences that when COVID hit, we had a lot of free time and I met with a lot of coaches, two especially, and kind of transitioned to a match three there for a while. And then we'll talk about spot dropping cover three. Okay. All right. Pattern match. So this isn't your normal country cover three, buzz flats, hook curl, corner stay deep. And I don't mean that any disrespect. I mean, that's how we used to run cover three like I said, when we were 3-4. But what we liked about meeting with people that ran pattern match, it was a lot of the rules were very similar to what we were doing in our quarters. Okay. So big thing that got our DC at the time and our head coach really excited about it was aggressive rerouting for underneath defenders. And the rules matched up because we still ran quarters concepts and quarters, but we didn't major in it like we had before. So we used to do our inverts or outside linebackers. We gave them one simple rule for quarters, two read, and cover three. You're 2-to-1 scarf. Okay. You always have inside leverage unless their split is tight. And scarf is, and I've heard it called skiff or seam curl player, but we always said scarf, seam curl, run the flat. All right. Our line stack linebackers were still 3 2 to 1 stack linebackers were still 3 2 to 1 players. That means they're eyeballing 3 2 1, no matter what. And at the time, we told our corners, your deep third players, obviously, but you're reading. We weren't even keying through two. We were reading quarterback shoulders, and we told them to divide deep threats based on shoulders. We read shoulders of quarterback. We still do, but that's exclusively what we read at the time. And we got this kind of from Hetless system was obviously your free safety is your middle of the field third player, but he was reading guards and he would J-path. He was very aggressive to run. And I'll kind of go through that real quick. Now, guys, I do everything off of 2x2. 2x1s to me is easier than 2x2, kind of just to line up to in any way. But you gave us trips during this time. We did not run cover 3. And I'll go through that. But so basically, scarf is obviously seam. So if number 2 receiver ran vertical, we're going to collision. We're going to carry that to 10 with eyes to 1. Okay. What we're trying to do was help our free safety out. And we're trying to push everything out. We were trying to make the quarterback throw the low percentage throw. Okay. Now, if number 2 ran out in any capacity, we were going to pop our feet. We were going to turn and look. What we're going to look for is the slant. All right. Because we were going to collision the piss out of the slant. All right. And let's say the slant didn't come or the slant came, we're going to collision that on our way to the flat. If one did not slant and he curled up, we're going to check curl. Then we're going to run under slant window or the curl window. I'm sorry. And then we are going to drive down up on the flat route. All right. So that was our seam curl run the flat rule. So we always told our guys, you're 2 to 1, 2 to 1. All right. Scarf. All right. Collision to seam. All right. Look, this really isn't in the scarf vernacular, but it was collision to seam. Look for the slants. All right. Curl, run the flat. All right. Now for our linebackers, it was the same thing. 3 2 to 1. Okay. If 2 went underneath, all right. There's your new no. All right. 3 goes out. He's your new number 2. There's your new number 3. We were making sure he wasn't slanting. Okay. Because he'd go up underneath slants, curls, or anything. So if 2 goes underneath now, we'd drive up underneath the curl window. We'd also look for slant. We'd always look for slant to get up underneath the curl. Okay. Now, our free safety at the time, like I said, we were very basic with our corners where we had 2 in our third. We were going to divide in between. Okay. Looking at quarterback shoulders. We always told them, shoulders are like your grandma, eyes are like your girlfriend. Your girlfriend's going to lie to you. Shoulders will tell you more of the truth. All right. So we were very simple with our corner rules. All right. In coverage, you got 2 in your third or 2 possibles. Go ahead. Start getting to your divider. Okay. Free safety, run guards to backfield action. Okay. So if you got a hi-hat read, he's leaning towards quarterback shoulders. All right. If he got any kind of run, all right, he was going to take 3 steps. He was going to run the flow. And for about 5 out of 7 years, our free safety was either our top tackler or our second tackler. And even this year, I think our free safety was in our top 3 for tackles. And I don't mean like tackles 5 or 6 yards downfield. I mean like tackling 1, 2, sometimes no gain. So we were very, at the time, aggressive with our free safety, inserting him into the run. Okay. So that was our pattern match. And we did the same thing. If it gave us 2x1, only difference was free safety would lean to the 2 receiver side. Like I said, we never ran this really versus trips. This is more of a 2x2, 2x1 deal. Okay. All right. So 16, not as much, but my first year as Coach Strick's DC when I was at Pierce County, we had a lot of injuries in the secondary, and we simplified a lot of stuff. So we were pattern match 3 or man free. So we gave up, in my opinion, a lot of weakness of cover 3 is 4 verticals. So I remember talking to one of my buddies who is a quarters guy, but when he ran his cover 3 concepts, he had a zone side and a rail side. And this was more for his 2x2 sets. Okay. And this was to help protect your free safety against 4 verticals. And in 2018, fortunate enough to have a really good defense that year. This was our automatic 2x2 check. When I got to Ware County, we kind of made this a game plan check. But it's a way to protect your secondary from 4 verticals. So the free safety would come if they gave us 2x2. One side would get a zone call, one side get a rail call, and it was dependent on where the running back was. So running back side would get a zone call, all right, and the side away from the running back would get a rail call. Okay, so rail side inverts will carry vertical in number 2. So everything is the same for him, except he knows if 2 goes vertical, he's going to collision and carry him down the field. And usually our strong safeties weren't the best man guys, okay, because it kind of turned to man, but we were trying to make that quarterback throw a perfect pass. And that would allow our corner and our free safety to probably get underneath that, all right? Zone side invert will work underneath 1 now. It's more of kind of a spot drop deal, which kind of went away from our scarf rule, 2x2 if they got a zone rail. So right here, okay, running backs to the boundary. So the free safety would give the rover, all right, a zone call, zone, 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 and he'd give the strong safety a rail call, rail, rail, rail. All right, doesn't affect the corners. They're still deep thirds, reading cue. Okay, if 2 goes in now, all right, 2 goes in now, all right, strong would work underneath 1 like his normal deal. Okay, 2 goes out, he's still working underneath slant to sit under the curl. All right. We did not carry wheel routes. Let me specify. We did not carry wheel routes unless they came from the backfield. All right. So that was it. So number 2 ran vertical. Okay. He was going to collision and carry. All right. And corner still looked at 1 if he was out of his. So he didn't have 2 threats in his third. He could kind of look at Popeyes the 1. If he had 2, he was still dividing, but he'd have this. He knew that he had help on this vertical right here. Onto the zone side, the rover would get up underneath 1. So rover knew he had a zone. He'd give the wheel a zone call too. They knew. So if they get past, he was going to work under 1. All right. He was going to work under 2 now. That's and try to collision any vertical. But if these guys ran 4 verts, all right, I got the free safety cheated to the zone side vertical, and his corner knew, all right, he had help to that vertical. He could mesh the fade on this number 1 a little bit more. Okay. Now, if for some reason 3 came out the backfield, the rover knew he would zone out, but he'd carry the wheel out the backfield. All right. So that was our zone rail call. That was kind of something we implemented with our pattern match. And like I said, that was what we exclusively ran in 18 and a little good bit in 19. And but we kind of had to get away from it because what people started understanding was they put the tailback to the field. All right, and they're running. So this would be your new rail side. They're running go and a hitch. So you had a deep third guy and guy collision and carrying, and they're hitting that 5-yard hitch on us. So kind of made it from a automatic check to a game plan decision. Okay, especially like on first down. All right. That was our zone rail call. So in 2020, COVID hit, and I had a lot of time to look at our previous weaknesses, the last few years, and like I said, I got to sit in my house all day and watch clinics, and then I got to listen to a guy, and then I got to actually talk with him and talk with another guy, and they were talking about match 3. Okay, so match 3 is very similar to our pattern match cover 3 that we just talked about. Still aggressive rerouting for underneath defenders. Okay, linebackers still had their 3-2-1 drops, but what those guys helped me understand, gave me, was more defined rules for my corners and my inverts for my outside linebackers. And basically, even reading more into it, it was basically, I know you can't read the bottom, I apologize, guys, but it's basically rip Liz coverage, except now your inverts don't have outside leverage. They're doing it from an inside leverage deal. Okay. So let me get into kind of what these rules were. All right. So for inverts, originally it was 2-to-1 scarf, right? So we went to the match 3 vernacular, or Rip Liz vernacular, MCD. Okay. MCD is simple. And I thought it was simpler, 2-to-1 scarf. I'm always into condensing rules and what the kids need to know. So basically it goes, they match the out to wheel of number 2. All right, so number 2 goes out, they match the out, and if he wheels up, all right, he's got to carry the wheel, something we'd never done before. Okay, we've always passed, if they didn't come out of the backfield, we passed wheels off to the corners. Okay, and we'd always give out calls, that way the corner knew I might have a potential wheel. Okay, now I would collision the vertical of number 2 up to 10 yards. And they gave me a good little tip. We used to collision and carry it. When we hit the 10 is when my eyes would go to 1. And obviously, like I said, you're giving up the quick hitch. All right. Well, way we did it and way we taught it was we were going to collision number 2. As soon as when I say collision, my inside half is free. I'm collisioning with my outside half. We likened it, no matter, whenever I told them to collision anything, take it like a basketball charge, except I'm doing it with half of my body because I'm trying to push that guy out, make that quarterback throw the harder throw. The further he has to throw out, the lower the percentage of the throw. So I'd collision 2. As soon as I collision 2, my eyes would immediately burn to 1. Okay. And I'd carry the collision to about 10 yards. But as I'm collisioning, I noticed he was trying to come inside or not. I would shove him out and try to pick up any kind of slant or anything coming back underneath. Okay. So that's match and collision. And then we deliver inside. If 2 went inside, we deliver. We just give it in call to our linebackers. All right. Who are basically 3-2-1 anyway. So that'd become their new 3 if 2 went out, right? And I got some film of this. And guys, I apologize. It's been, with the way huddle's kind of been, with storage issues, I didn't have access to go get all our old film from 4 years ago. Everyone's kind of on Christmas. I apologize for that. All right. Corner rules. And this was a great big nugget for us. Okay. We've always been about 7 yards off inside leverage. All right. Number 1, we, like everybody, never go past the bottom of the numbers. All right. Coaching tidbit I never thought about before, but we've been using this ever since because this hasn't changed. We have 2 receivers. All right. We're always, and our kids can tell you, number 1, if we're in any kind of cover 3, we're assuming number 1 is vertical, always assuming. So now, once we went to our match 3, okay, we'd start reading through number 2 to quarterback, okay? So basically, we'd say C2, field 1. 1's always vertical, right, in our mind, no matter if he hitches up. We always, so 2 goes vertical, all right? We'll get in our divider, okay? 2 goes in or out, we're snapping eyes to 1. Okay, versus trips, and we ran variations of this to trips, but at the time we were still big stubby check team, the trips. We didn't run this exclusively. We'd tell our corners, see 2 and 3 or 3 and 2, field 1. One's always vertical. Okay. So once again, if 2 goes in or out, snap eyes to 1. If 2 is vertical, get your butt to your divider. Now, I've never done this before, but we've been doing it ever since. Dividers, we actually gave them landmarks now. Okay. So our field corner divider was between the hash and numbers. So as he gets to the divider, he's going to read quarterback intention, still reading shoulder. Okay. If shoulder is up and far out, like he's going to throw to number 1, which is a hard throw, he'll start leaning. Okay. And he gets us to his divider and he sees his top shoulder kind of towards that seam route. We're going to squeeze on the seam. Okay. But you will have corner free safety help there. Okay. Boundary corner, your divider is the top of the numbers. Boundary corners, dividers to the top of the numbers. Now you're starting to read, still reading quarterback shoulder. Thing people try to hit us with was that boundary seam. Okay. Out of 2 by 2. We work that a lot. All right. Okay. Free safety rules. We used to tell our free safety, okay, divide, if you give us 2 by 2, divide the 2s. Okay. If you got 2 by 1, all right, you're always going to be leaning to the two receiver side. They motion for some reason, you'll bump with that. So what we told them now is find number 3. And obviously versus 2 by 2, you're going to kind of lean to number 3. If he's in the backfield, you'll kind of lean that way. And we did that within field goal uprights. Our free safety will never go outside the field goal uprights. And we still use that to this day. Versus 2 by 2, you're reading the tip of the shoulders, not the eyes of the quarterback, obviously. We talked to that. And 3 by 1, you'll line in the post area. All right. Because you will get an aggressive reroute of number 3 by your Sam linebacker. All right. Obviously, versus 2 by 2, we used to blitz a lot away from the running back, but even if we blitz to the running back side, okay. So 3-2 to 1. If he blitzed, he takes your 3-2 to 1. If 3 flares, there's your new number 3. There's your new number 2. Okay. Once again, middle of the field. We'll get to the next one. All right. So 2 by 2, backs to the field. Obviously, we blitz away. We didn't always have to, but we did a decent amount. And once again, MCD. Okay. He goes out. You're going to match the out. Now, looking at it, I remember the spring we went to this, or the summer, I'm sorry, we didn't get a spring because of COVID. Coach Strick didn't like the fact that the slant or these curls were open. So he purposely ran those because what was happening was they'd run out, our guys would get on top and they'd throw it in this slant window. So we kind of went back with these rules. We kind of went back to our scarf rules in that we're going to pop our feet. He goes out. We're going to look the collision, the slant, get under the curl window, would still drive. But if he wheeled now, okay, now we would actually carry the wheel by number 2 still. Okay. So that was one thing we had to adjust to. As if we went hard on that out right now, you know, slants and curls were still open. So that's the tidbit. We kind of had to go back to kind of what we used to do, pop feet. If he went out, we were going to match it, but we're going to match it while reading the slant window to getting under the curl. Then we'd match any kind of wheel. Okay. And obviously collision. So if he went vertical, we're going to pop, we're going to collision, burn eyes to 1 now. Okay. We try to push him out as hard as we could to about 10 yards. If he was slanting or doing anything, we collision. We get off of it quick. Okay. And try to collision any kind of slant we had to. All right. So at this time, we kind of went away from our rail and zone side concept. All right. because we felt like the way we were teaching this, and we were teaching it a little better. We were taking away the 4 verticals by number 2 by hard collisions. Okay. And any kind of post wheel or anything like that, we basically matched everything up. All right. And so at this time, I think with what we did with the corners and giving them landmarks, it's helped them immensely. It's been easier to teach. Okay. It's been easier to, now obviously they still have to read through number 2, but they still got to see quarterback intentions. You have to see the quarterback in any kind of zone, obviously, but they have to see the intentions of his shoulders. Is he pointing them down, up and down the seam, or is he pointing them up and out like he's going to throw the boundary seam? So he has to be, when he gets to his divider, he has to be able to squeeze or mesh on the fade. All right. And it's something you got to work tirelessly all the time. All right. And like I said, these rules never change. That's one thing I liked about when we went to this. It obviously didn't change for our Sam, Mike, and Will. Okay. They're still 3-2-1 players. If we blitzed one guy, the Mike would cover him up. So if I blitzed the Sam to the backside to break some tendencies, the Mike would open up. All right. There's your 3-2-1. Okay. And if 3 went out, okay, there's my new number 3. And for my guy here, he's going to pop eyes the 1, but no. All right. So he should get a swing call or push call by the Mike. Let him know he has a true number 2 and obviously a wheel threat. Okay. And for the free safety, like I said, we're still reading Q's shoulders. We're still aggressive with him in the run, but we slowed him down a little bit. As I met with one of my guy knows a lot more than me. So, it's kind of hard to get him going backwards and coming forward. So thing we've kind of told our free over the last few years is start tempoing to flow. Okay. Tempo the back. All right. Tempo the back. Guys, that's our match 3. All right. I think I got some. All right. So trips, obviously. All right. So it's the same thing. Here he is, and this is bad by me. I'm sorry, guys. He should be at 12. All right. He's in the post area. We bumped the Sam out of the box. He had a 2-yard rule. Okay. He still had his MCD rules right here. All right. And based on what offenses did, especially depending on the calls that we had. So what we could do this from a 2-high deal, kind of put him down the hash and bump the Will out a little bit to get up underneath 1. You still had your deep third player. We had calls where we can man him up on 1, man him up on the back if he flared. So basically we had checks. 3-by-1 was a check with me deal or game plan deal. But that's still at the time, guys, we're still a stubby or boxing 1, however you want to call it, matchup zone to the 3 receiver side. All right. So we didn't run this a lot versus trips at the time. But when we did, it was all basically a call to the backside, how we wanted to treat the single receiver side. All right. But to this side, he's still reading. All right. 2 to 3 to Q. Okay. If 2's vertical, he's in his divider. Okay. He's still, all right, MCD on number 2. And then you get a reroute. All right. Inside reroute on number 3, unless he's shallowed now. Okay. Then we pass that off. Okay. And then you still had your free, kind of seeing what's attacking the post area. Okay. All right. Some film. I do have film of this. So why I put this up here, we did some good things. It goes back to you definitely need to have some answers for some things. This is Holden Gurn. This is Benedictine, and they threw for a lot of yards on us in this game. But this kind of gives you a good idea. Okay, MCD player. Okay, and I'll slow it down a little bit. All right, so this is them running shallow. Okay, so his number 2 went shallow. He's gonna pop eyes out. All right, he's gonna pop eyes out to 1, knowing that he has a possible wheel threat here. Okay, and then 2 goes here. His eyes can go to 1 now. All right. So right here, he's past the bottom of numbers, which is not correct, but he's getting too vertical. He should start working to his divider. All right. So what happens is you look at it, they shallow. We get a good reroute right here. All right. So basically, he's looking down. He wants to throw this. This is rerouted. Okay. He gave an in and in call, okay, to this gazelle right here that's playing baseball at Georgia. We match that. We usually don't tell them to go down on this is kind of more of a game plan deal. We have the hard 5-yard hard deck like everybody else. Okay, but we knew in shallow dig, we'd attack this because we get a good collision on this. All right, if you look up top, he's collisioned, so he meshes the fade on number 1. Once again, to the bottom, 2 goes in, his eyes pop to 1. He's over the top, meshing the fade. Okay, and you got he'd rally to that flat route by the running back. Okay, he's making sure this guy didn't curl up. All right, later in the game, all right, this is a 2x2 set, but this guy's attached. Okay, this was a flea flicker, I believe. Yep. All right. So for our free's wrong. He's supposed to read these guards. Okay, and this was his first game ever at free safety. He's a little, yeah, he's a little deep. All right, so these guys pop up. He needs to get in his third now, get depth. Okay, reading Q. All right, he did a good job of reading his key, in-man key. Okay, he's popping his feet. This guy goes vertical. He collisions. Okay, our corner sees 2 vertical. He gets vertical, but he's reading through to the quarterback. All right. This guy doesn't have a detached 2, so he was going to get underneath 1. All right, and he has 1 threat, so he knows I can be on this guy. I can pop my eyes to him. 2Q. Okay, he's going vertical. Meshes on the fade. Kind of had this guy doubled underneath. All right. Knew they want to go. This guy's a really good football player. This was kind of the benefit in my mind of collision and rerouting. All right. So our philosophy always has been reroute, collision, reroute, collision, reroute. The more you put hands on a receiver, the more he's not going to want to run routes. It just flusters him a lot. Okay. You got collision there. All right. Bump out to empty. All right. He takes a few steps this way. All right. All right, there's my collision player, my post player. All right, post area player, my MCD player, my deep third. Okay, same thing. When empty. All right, 3, 2 to 1. He has no 3, so he's basically 2 to 1. He's MCD. All right, he's got 2 threats. It goes back to he's 2 went vertical. I get my divider, but quarterback shoulders take him where? They go this way. All right. And they took this throw pretty much all night because we had a lot of new guys starting in this game and we didn't have the ability to run a whole lot that week. And you make a tackle, it's kind of the weakness of the coverage right there. Okay. Vertical hitch. Okay. That hitch is there. You make a tackle, it's 3rd and 6 now, 3rd and 5. It's more manageable. All right. So this year we went away from our match 3. My new linebackers coach, very good football coach, comes from a spot dropping world, and my D line coach coached with Pete Carroll, and they're spot dropping 3. And talked me into spot dropping. And basically, so with spot dropping in my mind, all right, I had about wrap my mind around it. When you spot drop, you run to a spot and you stand there or you move a little bit, but the way they both kind of made it sound, and we talked to our head coach about it, who's always been, we're going to put hands and reroute. Kind of had to put that ego aside, and we went to this and we had a lot of success with it. So basically, our corner and free safety rules stayed pretty much the same. Now, drops for underneath players change. Each position kind of has a landmark, all right, that you work to. And when you're dropping, you can reroute. That's kind of the fallacy with spot dropping. People think you can. I mean, the thing is, you're not going and chasing players. Now you can reroute on your way to wherever the quarterback is dropping to, all right, looking to. And I would say the biggest plus about spot trade, you have more eyes on the quarterback, okay, and you're cheating the throwing windows, and you're making quarterbacks have to throw perfect passes. And once again, guys, I struggled with it early on, and as kids bought into it, I bought into it. We kept getting better and better and better as the season went along with it. So spot dropping, let's say it's middle of the field, your inverts, I have a base 3-5 or numbers droppers, your stacks or hash droppers, and your mic is kind of your middle dropper. Okay. If you did it from a hash, they don't change. Okay. But here's the thing you got to do, make sure you do, is you're constantly putting your kids in spots where they have to always alter and practice altering their drop. All right. And it's not just I'm running out there. As you're dropping, you got your eyes on the cue. All right. As he's dropping, I'm dropping. When he settles, you start settling. You kind of work into throwing lanes. You're breaking. It's something you have to constantly work. I mean, it's not just, it sounds simple, but it's not. There is a lot that you got to do to keep getting better and better and better and better at this. And I thought throughout the year, this past year, we got better with it. Okay. Like I said, corners don't change. You got numbers droppers, hash droppers, middle of the field dropper. Okay. And like I said, as the court cue drops, you're dropping. Eyes on quarterback. He settles, I settle, no matter what spot you're at. And then you start trying to get in those throwing windows. All right. So this is some game film from our spot dropping, and there was a lot of good in this game. That's kind of why I put it on here. It's not so quarterback's looking this way. Obviously, it's a rollout. All right. He's dropping basically, so I'm dropping, right? Now with this sprint out, it's kind of a sprint rotation. Got a forcer. Now he takes his spot. Okay. Break on the ball. We got better. Like I said, this kept getting better and better as the year went on. All right. Buzzing. He's settled. I'm settling. Now it's just reading the cue. Hey, hands off the ball. You're breaking to the ball. Breaking to the ball. We told our kids all year. As you're dropping, hey, break to the ball. See what the cue's doing. This guy right here did a good job of breaking to the cue. He was going, all right, he was on his way to the numbers. He was on his way to the hash. Okay, he was working to the middle. They're reading what the cue was doing. Okay, he saw his eyes come back in, his shoulders come back in, and he made a heck of a break on this. Okay, very good break. It's the last one, guys. All right. All right, all these eyes on cue. It's like a wall. This guy's going to have to make a perfect pass. All right, you see us underneath. We're reading the quarterback, seeing where you're cheating, where he kind of is. All right. get an interception out of it. That's a great job by our Mike right here. He's in the middle of the field, cheating where the Q is, where he's looking, where he's looking, where he's looking. Okay. Corners are doing a good job of dividing. All right. Our free safety is doing a good job of reading the front tip of the pad of the quarterback. All right, guys. I mean, that's kind of, like I said, what we've done the last 7 years with our cover three. It's kind of been an evolution. We're still looking for ways to improve and get better and find tidbits to help our kids get better. And that's kind of what we strive to do every off season. But that's kind of what we've done, like I said, the last several years, and kind of how we've evolved with our cover three.
Coach, that was fantastic, by the way. I really enjoyed it. We ran a lot of cover three, ran a lot of pattern match, what we ran. But
Yeah.
when you spot drop, how did the spot drop affect, the RPOs you see or people getting their run pass read?
Well, it didn't really affect us that much. We kind of tell our kids, especially our inverts, all right, so if it's 2x2, for example, back's my side, I'm still popping my feet. I'm still seeing what he's doing. You know what I mean? And so we tell our kid, hell, back my side. I got a good shot for RPO my side. That makes sense. And
Yeah, exactly.
we tell them because obviously they can RPO it, same side deal, but we're just like, God, he's got to ride it, then pop his shoulders back around for same side RPOs. I mean, can it be done? But hell, there are pros that can't even do that now.
That's right. That's
kind
right.
of what we preach to our kids.
What I heard the whole time, Coach, was an emphasis on stopping the things that are the hardest and stop. You run cover three so you have more people to play to run. Honestly, I mean,
Yes,
that's why you do it. So people were scared of it for years because of different things like four verticals. But then they give up. Then they give up 400 yards rushing. So I don't.
Yeah.
You have to find a way to stop the hard things, and you got to stop people running the ball. And so I think that's what y'all are doing. But Coach, I appreciate you taking some time, and I think anybody got Coach's email up there if they want to get in touch with him, get a little more in depth. But pretty cool that you've gotten a lot of this stuff from clinics, and maybe somebody will get something from you. Man, that's great.
I appreciate y'all, man. Like I said, I didn't make any of this. I've learned it and just kind of tweaked it as we've gone on. I had a lot of help from my head coach, especially this year. A lot of my other guys on my defensive staff, they're incredible, man.
Well, you guys done a great job, man. Y'all done a great job.
I appreciate it.
Congratulations on your great year. Looking forward to seeing y'all next year.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Take care, Coach.
Yes, sir.